Welcome to Cognos Beginner Training. This training is designed to teach a new Cognos user how to successfully navigate and run reports and schedule reports through Cognos. The objectives for today's training is to teach you how to access various Cognos resources, how to log in and resolve some common errors and error messages you may see when using Cognos, navigate Cognos comfortably, and how to view a report. Learn about the various types of formats that you can export a report in with Cognos, how to schedule a report, which is also called a subscription, and how to request access for Cognos packages. Finally, we will talk about how to request help for Cognos. Please keep in mind, both this training and the Comevo training, which talks about our data security policies, are required before you can get access to Cognos. Cognos resources. As a beginning Cognos user, it's important to know what resources are available to you as you learn to use Cognos. Go to a web browser and type in data.ilstu.edu. From here, click on the Training tab. Scroll down on the Training tab and click View Cognos Training. You can see over here on the right side, under Explore Cognos Training, we have documents and videos for you to have more information about Cognos. Let's first click on Documents. The documents have various procedures that you can find more about, basically procedures, but I want to show you this Cognos Beginner's Guide. I'm going to go ahead and open it. The Cognos Beginner's Guide is comprehensive and will give everything a new Cognos beginner needs to know in order to use Cognos effectively. It starts out with a purpose and a contents section so you can easily find what you're looking for in Cognos. It has some prerequisites so you know what's required in order to use Cognos, followed by some definitions that have the terminology that's frequently used in Cognos so you can get familiar with the tool and the terminology. Then it goes into a quick procedure for how to log in and log out of Cognos and gives you the detailed steps to do so. Once you're done with that section, it gives an overview of all of the main pages in Cognos. These numbered symbols here are used and correspond to the numbers here in the table. So a number corresponds to an icon, which then gives you a detailed description about each icon. This allows you to know what functionality you have on each of the main pages in Cognos. And then after that, it's a list of procedures for how to do the most commonly done tasks in Cognos. There's also a troubleshooting section to help you when you run into issues, and where to get help and how to request access to additional packages in Cognos. So as you can see, this is quite complete and should assist you. You may like to have this right next to you as you start using Cognos, and you can refer to it. I'm going to click back to the Explore Cognos training, and I'm going to click on the videos. These videos also explain how to do various tasks in Cognos. Some of them look slightly different than the version that you're seeing in Cognos right now because they're an older version, but the tasks are performed in exactly the same way, so the videos are still relevant and can be useful. Once you're comfortable using Cognos and know how to navigate the system, you may want to find certain reports that will help you to do your job. If you click on the Reports and Dashboards section here and scroll down and choose Cognos, over on the right again, under Explore Cognos, is a list of our most common packages. Clicking on the Student Records package, you can see that we have a list of student record dashboards, and if I scroll down a little bit more, student records reports. So this page gives you a summary of every dashboard and and every report we have in the student records package. This may help you to quickly figure out which reports might be helpful to you and you would want to explore further. If a report's in red text, it is actually a link, and you can go ahead and click it, and you'll get even more detailed information. More specifically, it will give you a list of all of the fields that are on the report and a short description of each. This can be helpful when you're looking for a specific item or field for your task that you're trying to do. You click the back button here. Okay, and so to review, you can go to data.illinoisstate.edu/training/Cognos-training and select the documents or videos link on the right-hand side. That will help you to learn how to use Cognos. You can also go to data.illinoisstate.edu/reports-dashboards/Cognos and select from the packages you see on the right-hand side. This will list all the reports and dashboards and a summary of what each of them do or display. If the report is in red, you can click on that report because it's a link and it will give you field details. Logging into Cognos and resolving common error messages. Before you can use Cognos, you have to get access to one or more packages. Otherwise, you won't be able to use the application. When you're working from home, it's important that you log into Cisco Secure Client so you have a VPN connection. IBM only supports the Google Chrome browser, so be sure to log into Chrome and not Firefox or Microsoft Edge when logging into Cognos. Insight.illinoisstate.edu will take you to Cognos. Let's go there. When you get this to the central login page, click the button and go ahead and log into Cognos. You may want to pause here if you have to do multi-authentication and then come back to the video. The first time you log into Cognos, you will see this welcome banner. You will also see this welcome banner if you use the incognito window here to log in, or if you've just cleared your cache. To close the welcome banner, click on this X here in the upper right-hand corner and click the OK button. You will then see the complete recent page. Cognos will always open up to this recent page. This recent page is also called the welcome or the home page. When you see it the first time, it will be empty. That's because you haven't run any reports in Cognos yet. The recent page shows the 20 most recent reports that you have run in Cognos. And in the upper left-hand corner is the most recent report you have run. As you can see, each of these tiles is what they're called, is a report that I've run. Another view that you can have on this page, which I prefer, is the list view. This shows those reports in a vertical format, which I find easier to read. I can also go to settings and choose compact so that my list of reports I can see are compacted together so I can do less scrolling. And this option here lets you change the sorting from ascending to descending. And that's pretty much key functionality for this page. Now, before we go much further, I want to talk about a couple of common error messages that you may experience as a new user in Cognos. Go back here. You may get this no access error message when using Cognos. You can get this error message for multiple reasons. The most common reason is that your session has timed out. So how do you resolve this error message? Here are logical steps for you to do when you get an error message like this. First, you want to click OK to close the error message. And then you want to click the refresh icon. So that refresh icon is right here in the Chrome web browser. And generally, if it's a timeout issue, it will either spin and go back to where you were in Cognos. If you've timed out for a while, it may ask you to re-enter your credentials, which go ahead and do that, and it will take you back to where you were. But if it's been a really long time, it just may take you back to the recent page and not the work or the report that you were in. And so you may have lost what you ran for that report. There are still other occasions where if you click on a link in the recent page, let's go back here, you will still get that access message. In that case, what we recommend is that you follow these breadcrumbs and run the report directly from the content folder, because most likely that report has been recently updated and the recent page now has an old link and not the updated link, so it won't run the report from the recent page. So what happens if you have another error message and Cognos isn't working for you the way you would expect? What should you do? Our first suggestion is that you see if anyone else in your office that has access to Cognos is also having an issue. That will give you an idea of the scope of the issue, and it's not just you. In addition, you can go look in Outlook to see if you've received an email message from the EDA staff. If we know of an issue, we will let you know, and the issue is existing. We will also email you when the issue is resolved. If you don't see anything in your Outlook folder, then we suggest you email the support center at illinoisstate.edu and submit a ticket explaining what you've tried, if you've contacted anyone else, and what you're experiencing. And then someone from EDA will contact you to help you resolve the situation. Navigating Cognos and running a report. Open up Google Chrome and type in insight.illinoisstate.edu. Click on the central login button and enter your credentials. What you are seeing is the recent page. The recent page is the first page you'll see when you log into Cognos. As a new user, you may not see any reports on your page. It'll be completely blank until you've run a report. What we are seeing is a recent page in its default view, which each of these is a report on what we call a tile. You can also click on this icon here and see Cognos recent page in list view. And you can also click on settings, click on compact, and it will compact all of the reports that you see on this page so you can do less scrolling. This icon here allows you to sort the data alphabetically, ascending or descending. Now, why are these reports displayed on this page? Well, this page is designed to show the 20 most recent reports you've run in Cognos. So you can see this is the last report that I ran in Cognos. This is the second to last report I ran in Cognos. The idea is that the most commonly used reports you'll run over and over again, and they're conveniently located here on the first page you see in Cognos. To run a report, you can just click on the name of the report and it'll run it in HTML mode. I want to point out, though, that if you know that you're going to run this report and export it to Excel, the best thing to do is to click it and choose the Run As option. The Run As option here will allow then you to choose many different formats, such as these Excel formats, in order to run your report. You have that option, the Run As option, in a lot of different places. Not only is it here when I click on the name of the report, but it's also available here on these three dots, which are called the action menu. Run As is here. There is some additional functionality up here at the top of the screen when you have an item selected. Most of the time, there's no need to use them, but you can explore them if you would like. Now, I'd like to talk about each of the items at the top on what we call the application bar. They may change where we add some or some are hidden based on what's on the main screen. This here, the hamburger icon, which is also called the open menu, if you click on it, it gives you some options of what you can do on the left. Here, this home page will take you back to the recent page. The recent page is also called the home page. It's also called the welcome page. You won't be using the new or upload data. Those are for developers. The content folder takes you to the page where we have our reports organized, just like we do in Windows Explorer. Recent gives you the same data that you're seeing on the recent page, just in this list format. And manage is for administrators, and so you won't use it. So really the only relevant two items in this dropdown is content and home. If I click on home, you see it takes me back to the recent page. Here, Cognos Illinois State University can also take you back to the recent page. If you're not there, you click on it, it will go to the recent page. And then if I scroll down to the right, there's a search content. This allows you to search for a report by name. So if I type in a name of a report, once I start typing, it will give me suggestions, and I can go ahead and stop typing, select the suggestion, or I can just keep on typing exactly what I want and press enter. Now, there's a limitation on this search option. So the search option will only show you up to 50 items. So if you put in an item like student, which is a name in a lot of our reports, folders and other things, you can see it shows only the first 50 items. That means your search is not complete and your item may or may not be in this list. So keep that in mind. The more specific you can be when you enter your search option, the better you are at being able to find the item you're looking for. This is to be used for finding a report based on the report name. It also can work by column name, but so many of our column names are used in multiple reports. It goes up against this over 50 items barrier, so it's not really useful. So just think about this as a way to find a report name. Over here is a notification icon. We don't use it, so I'm not going to discuss it. And over here is a personal menu icon. If I click that, you can see that I'm logged in, and the only other item that is of interest for you is this My Schedules and Subscription option, whereas if you have scheduled a report to be emailed to you at a certain place and time, this is the place that you would manage that subscription. We'll talk more about this later. And now you can see here, this shows up, and it wasn't there before. It's showing up now because we have this page open, not the recent page. And if I have another page open, that would also show up here as another item that I can select so that I can toggle back and forth between pages. But remember, I can also go to the recent page by just clicking here on the Cognos Illinois State University link, and it takes me back to the recent page. So now you have an idea of what you can do on the application bar and this home menu. Let's go to the content folder and explore that next. So if I click on content and I go to the content page, I have two options, My Content and Team Content. Only developers use the My Content or advanced users, so we're going to focus on the Team Content link. So the first time you go in, you'll need to click on that Team Content link. And as long as you don't click on the My Content link again, it will stay here. It does remember where you are from the last time you were in when you're in the program. So here you can see we have a bunch of folders. These folders are in alphabetical order, and they're mainly broken down by packages. You can see there's an admissions package here. We have a student records package here. I'm going to pause a moment and tell you that if you see something in Cognos, you have access to it. If you don't have access to something in Cognos, you won't see it displayed on your screen. So don't worry about going into something that you don't have permission to. If you can see it, you can use it and run it. So let's go ahead and click on the student records folder. Oh, and note that these are in alphabetical order too here. And we can change the sorting, we can do some filtering and some other options. They're all pretty self-explanatory. You just hover over the icon and it pretty much tells you, you can click on that icon for further information. So I'm going to go into the student records folder. And I have these various choices here. This is where I go to look at dashboards. We have some special security on these folders, so that's why they're separated here. We also have packages and reports. These are the most common ones to find in a student records a package is dashboards, packages, and reports. Now, packages is something that you'll never need to go into, but you need access to them in order to run a report because it has all the structure of the data that you're seeing in your report. Now, if I click on reports here, in some cases, you'll see folders and the reports. So Cognos always lists folders first and then reports or other items. Note that the folders are in alphabetical order and the reports are in alphabetical order so that it makes it easy for you to find them. So you can see there's breadcrumbs here as we keep clicking on items. So for example, if I was to click on graduation, that would also show up here. But if I wanted to go back to reports, I can just click here. Or if I wanted to go all the way to student records or all the way back to team content, I can just click on that. So let's click back onto reports. Okay, so next thing, let's go ahead and run a report. We're going to want to run this report to the web browser. So I don't have to use a run as option. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the Dean's List. Here in the Dean's List, you can see it opens up to what we call a prompt page. This allows the user to filter their options so they can get just the records that they need on their report. There are little icons here that are explained up here that help guide you in terms of what you can do for that prompt. Now, this asterisk here tells us that it is a required field. So if I don't enter anything here or make a selection, and I go down to next, you can see it's got a circle with a slash through it, which means it won't let me go to the next page. So I'm going to go ahead up here and I'm going to go select a term description. And then I'm going to go down to next and I still have the circle with the X. That's because this step also is required. So I'm going to go ahead and click plan. And you can see now I can click the next button. Okay, so now I'm getting a whole bunch of plans on display here and I have to choose one. And you can see there's a lot to pick from. So there are other prompts like this that could have even more options in here. So one way we recommend to select the items that you want to filter on instead of doing a lot of scrolling is use the functionality of Google Chrome by clicking Control F. And up at the top here, you can see a box pops up here that allows us to enter in some text. So I'm going to go ahead and put history for history. And I'm going to click both these options here. And then I'm going to choose the finish button. Now it's going to display that report for me. And you can see up at the top, it's showing that it's displaying that report. And I can go to the content page from here, or back to my schedules and subscription. Let's just go to the content page. So you can see it takes us back to this content page. And I can also click here to go to the recent page. And you can see now the Dean's List is at the top because it's the most recent report that I have run. Let's go ahead and run another report. I'm going to go to the Content Manager. I can do it here, or I can choose it here. Now, let's choose another report from Student Records and Reports, and we're going to choose Plan Roster Active. I'm going to click Undergraduate. That's my option here. I'm going to choose Plan here, and I'm going to click the next button. There we go. Note that this is not a required option. So I can choose not to select any options, which means it will give me all plans, or I can choose multiple options here. And here allows me to do select all or deselect all. But you should never use select all if you truly want everything. By not selecting it, it will be selected because it won't be a filter. So let's go ahead and select a couple of items here and go ahead and press finish. You may notice that these reports may take a minute or two to run in Cognos. That's because it's going through millions of records at a time. And also, there may be many different fields for each one of those records, and it does take time to process. Okay, so here's another report, the Plan Roster Active report, and I'm going to scroll here, and you can see I can switch back and forth between the Dean's List and the Plan Roster Active report. You may note here that the FERPA restricted indicator is in the far left column. On reports where it's appropriate for the FERPA restricted indicator to be listed, we like to put it in the leftmost column so that users can easily identify it. On this report, you can see that all of the options that I selected are displayed here in the text. So you have an easy idea, an easy way to see what you selected in case you don't remember. And if I click this Reggie Redbird head here, this should look familiar to you if you've been in the records and dashboards report in on the website, the ILS2 website for data. You can see that these are all the fields that are on the report and a description of each of those fields. So most of our reports have the Reggie Redbird head and they're working, but we are a bit behind. So there is an occasion where you may not get what you're looking for when you click on the Reggie Redbird head. Okay, so here you can see all the data listed, and we can scroll over to see all of it here. I want to point out something that you may not have noticed, but here on the Dean's List, I can scroll all the way to the bottom. And notice here on the left-hand side, there is nothing here, and I see many, many records here. But if I click on the Plan Roster Active report, I only see 20 records, but down here I see top, page, up, page, down, and bottom. I can click this page number, or I'm sorry, this page down to go to the next page and go through the report. So some reports have pagination and some do not. So if a report looks incomplete to you, you may want to look down here on the left-hand side to see if there's pages on that report, which is why you're not seeing all the data. You may have to click these up and down arrows to get the information you are looking for. Once you're in the report, now you're in HTML view here, you can see there's an option here to choose one of our other formats. There's also the option here to run the report again. I click on it. And it will give me the choice to go ahead and select different options, but it saves the ones I had. So if I was to go back in again, I would have to unclick the ones I had selected and select something new. Let's do accountancy and then run it again. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is that we do have some functionality to make some changes to the report while in the web browser. Most of the time, I would recommend you making those changes, such as filtering or sorting, using Excel because it works faster. But I want to go ahead and show you an example. So let's say we want to sort by first name. We can click on first name, and you can see up here we have this toolbar with these icons. Not every report in Cognos has this functionality. So if you click on the first name and you don't see these items show up, that report does not have that functionality. So after I click on first name, I can click on the sort button and choose ascending, and it will sort the records by first name. I want you to note that when you use one of these functionalities up here, it will rerun the report from the beginning. It's not going to do a quick sort like you would see in Excel. So keep that in mind, and that's why I don't recommend using this functionality up here. If you accidentally click the edit button, don't worry about it, just unclick it, and if it asks you to save, close without saving, go ahead and choose that option. So you can see here, it now has alphabetized all of the first names on this report. From this web page, we can go ahead and click this icon. This icon is not available to you unless you have a page that's being displayed or a report that's being displayed. If I click it and I get the subscribe button, we'll show you more about that later. Report formats and exporting a report. Log into Cognos, and now let's run a report. I'm going to go to Open Menu, Content, find Student Records, then Reports, and let's run the Dean's List. By clicking on the title of the report, it will run the report in the default format, which is HTML. I'm going to go ahead and make my selections. And run the report. You can see up here, it's showing the current format that's displayed on this report, which is HTML. But I click on it, it will show me all other format options that Cognos has. Besides HTML, it has a PDF format. PDF format is ideal to use when you're scheduling to run reports that don't have any filters. We use this for reports such as weekly application summary. Then we have Excel and Excel data, which both export to Excel in different ways. Last but not least, CSV and XML, which are not used, so we're just going to focus on Excel and Excel data. Excel data will display a report in a simple tabular format, where Excel will show the report with all of the images and special formatting and extra text. It's on a report. There are also some pros and cons to using each of these formats. So let's go through them. So let's run the Dean's List using the Excel format. And I can do that simply by clicking Excel here. When you run a report, it will download it based on how you have your web browser set up. In Chrome, you can have it by default go to a specific folder, or you can choose to always have it ask you where the report should be, where you can customize the name. I have it here going to a default folder, so I can just click here on Downloads and open it up right here by clicking the open icon so we can see what this report looks like. So here we are in Excel format. You can see the colors are the same. It has the images, it has the text, which shows which filters we selected and any other additional text that's been put on the report. And you can see there's quite a bit difference in how it manages the cells or merges cells. You can also see this FERPA restricted indicator column is very wide, and it has to do with all this additional text here. You can grab it and move it to make it look more like the report that you see in Cognos, but that is a limitation of Cognos that you see it the way you just did. So this version has many pros and a few cons. One, Cognos can create a report that has multiple distinct pages. You must use the Excel format if you want to see multiple distinct pages export when you're using that feature. Excel data will only show you the first page of the report. Secondly, the Excel report will show you totals where you expect them to be, just like they look like in the Cognos HTML format. So what are some of the downsides? One is if you want to do filtering, you have to really be careful about grabbing just the right cells you want to. And keep in mind that if you go to the bottom of the spreadsheet, you have some merged cells where you have the date, the page number here, and then over here, the time. This can mess you up when you're trying to do any kind of filtering or sorting. So just be sure you're selecting the proper area, both from the top to the bottom of the pages that are your rows of your data. One other caution or negative about using the Excel format is that sometimes it has additional columns or rows that are hidden or merged that you can't see. So you won't be able to do some of those features unless you fix them, and they're not always easily fixed. Okay, so now that we've explored Excel, let's look at the Excel data format. So to get out of where we are right now in the dialing this report by Excel format, I'm going to click on Dean's List. I'm going to click the close button to close the report. Now I'm going to go run it again. Now this time I'm going to run it in Excel data format. Go ahead and open that file. There we go. So you can see there's no formatting, there's no headers, there's no images, and all the information is in a tabular format. This makes it really easy to filter and sort and do data manipulation like you usually want to do in Excel. But it does have some drawbacks that I mentioned earlier. One being that if your report has multiple distinct pages, the Excel data format will only pull and display the first page of the report. Secondly, if your report has totals, strangely enough, they won't show up here under these columns as you would expect, but off on the left, you'll see the total title and the value would be in the second row, and that would be for multiple totals. So if you want to just be able to see purely tabular data without totals, you'd probably want to use this Excel data format. Now, before we finish here, I wanted to say one more thing about running the report in Excel or Excel data format. And that is, you've seen here that I always ran it in HTML format first. And then after it was run in HTML format, I run it in Excel or Excel data to export it out in the format that I want. That's really running the report twice. When a report takes a couple minutes to run, that doubles your time. And if it's 5 minutes to run the report, it can take 10 minutes to get it to export to Excel. So instead of running it twice, I strongly suggest you right-click on the name of the report you want to run, click Run As, and here you can choose Excel or Excel data to run your report. So let's go ahead and run this in Excel. Choose Run. Make your selections. And it will run it directly to Excel. And then we can go ahead and open that up. Okay, so again, keep in mind, go ahead and close this. The fastest way to run a report that you want to export to Excel is to click on the report name and choose Run As. You can do it here. You can do it over here. Click on that option. Oops. And choose Run As. I don't know why this keeps showing up. Sorry. Run As here. And notice we're doing this from the content page. We can also do that from, if I click here, we go to the recent page, the same idea. Right click, Run As, or right click, Run As. Scheduling reports, add, edit, and delete subscriptions. In Cognos, there's two different types of scheduling reports. One, which can only be used by administrators, allows you to schedule a report and send it out to multiple users. All other Cognos users can use and run subscriptions. That's where you can run a report to email it to yourself. Let's show you how. Go ahead and open Cognos and determine what report you want to have for your subscription. Go ahead and run that report in HTML format. Whatever prompts you select here when you're running the reports will be the filters that will be used when you run that report in when the schedule is being run. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. The Dean list displays with the parameters you selected that you can see here, Spring Semester 2024 and English BA. These need to be the parameters that you want for your subscription. So now that the report is displayed, you will see 3 vertical dots in the black application bar. When you hover over it, it says More. Go ahead and click on those 3 dots and choose Subscribe. This pop-up box will allow you to design your subscription to your needs. You can see there's 3 links: schedule, options, and prompts. In the schedule links, you can see there's a frequency box here, and next to type, I can click the drop down, and you can see the options are daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and by trigger. We don't use by trigger, but you can use the others. I'm going to go ahead and click daily for this subscription, and you can see this option changes from repeat every, and then we have days. It's hours and minutes, but I don't think anyone ever would use that. But you can have this run every other day by changing this number here. Now, if I scroll down to the period box, you can see that the subscription starts at the date and time I created the subscription. and it has no end date. This means that the subscription will continue running until it is deleted. If you know the end date of your subscription, you can unclick the no end date box and enter the date and time you want to end the subscription. There is an advanced box, but there's no need to edit anything in that box. Clicking on the options, you'll see that you can choose the format you want for the report. By default, it's HTML. So if I want Excel, I can click Excel and note the HTML will stay there so you can get both versions. But since I just want the Excel version, I can unclick the HTML one. So I will just get this report in Excel format. I'm going to scroll down to the delivery box, and you can see it's got Save Check, Save Report. That will save the report in Cognos, and you'll be able to find it in the notification when you click the notification icon here, which is that bell. But we recommend, for convenience for the users, to click the Send Report by Email option. When you do that, you'll want to click this Edit Details link. I'm going to scroll up to the top, and you can see that it's planning on sending the report to you. Please note that you cannot edit this section. You can try and it'll do a search and it won't find any names that you enter in here to select for that email. You can only send a subscription to yourself. Scrolling down, you can see there's a subject line that's partially filled in for you and an empty message box. You can customize your report that's going to get emailed to you by modifying the subject line or the message for that report. Scrolling further down, you can see by default, Cognos will select the choose link option for you. That will leave a link to the report as opposed to directly attaching the report. For your convenience, we recommend clicking attach report output and untoggling the include link. Then I'm going to scroll up again and I'm going to click the prompts link. Here you can see the parameters that we selected for the report, Spring Semester 2024, Plan in English BA. If for some reason these parameters are incorrect, you can click on this pencil icon here. I'll go ahead and click it, and it will display the prompt pages that you saw when you ran the report. I'll go ahead and change the Spring Semester 2024 to Fall Semester 24. Leave Plan as is, click the next button, and you can see here, English BA is still checked. I'll leave that as is and click Finish. And now all my prompts are updated and displayed. At this point, you have created your, you have set all your criteria for your subscription, and by pressing Save, it will be created. You'll get this temporary short message telling you that your subscription was created. Where I recommend you following along with the Cognos Beginner Guide. It has a lot of details and screenshots because this can be a little tricky to get used to doing. And you don't do it that frequently, like running a report every day. You're only going to do this probably once a semester. So to get to your subscriptions, click on the personal menu here and choose My Schedules and Subscriptions. This takes you to the My Schedules and Subscriptions page, and you're in current mode. If I click over here on this dropdown, I have 4 options. The current option shows me any reports that are currently running. The second past option will show you reports that have been running, that ran in the last 4 hours. Upcoming will show you reports that will be running in the next 4 hours, and schedule are your scheduled subscriptions or schedules. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And you can see I have my Dean's List 3. It was created on December 17th at 3:01 p.m., which is when this is being recorded. So I can see this is the one I just created. Notice that the name of the subscription has the word My and the report name. And then after that, optionally, it will have no numbers or incrementally number 1, 2, 3, and up. You can see down here, I have a Dean's List 2, and if I continue to scroll I may have a Dean's List 1. I also may have deleted it. I don't know. So say it's been 3 months since you've made your subscription, and you come in here and you want to edit your existing subscription. But you see you have a My Dean's List 3 and a My Dean's List 2. How do you know which one to edit? That's where over here, the More Actions menu will help you. You need to go in and look at the parameters for that subscription and determine if that's the one you want to change. If I go ahead and click on the three dots, I can choose, it lets me run the reports, shows you properties. This is where you can modify the schedule or view the schedule. View versions, not really relevant to anybody. Disable, we recommend you not using it. Remove the schedule. This is what you use when you want to delete a subscription. You no longer need it anymore. And then set priority. All schedules are by default set at priority 3. There's rarely any reason to change it. So I'm going to go into modify this schedule to see if this is the subscription I want to change. So I'm going to click on that. And a right sidebar pops up. And it shows me a little bit of information about that report. When it's scheduled to run, who scheduled it, what format it's in, delivery, but it has nothing about prompts. So I need to get more detail. So I'm going to go ahead and click this edit button. When I click this edit button, I have 3 prompt pages. The first one is all about the schedule, and you can shrink or expand each of these boxes to see more detail if you'd like. So you can see that this subscription is scheduled weekly, once a week on Mondays. If I scroll down here, it's to start on 12/17 at 8 a.m. with no end date. And I can expand advance if I want to. I don't know if there's anything in here. Yeah, just who's running the report and the priority. So let's click on this next link, and it gives us a new page. And this is the format. What if I don't want it in Excel data anymore and I want it in Excel? I can go ahead and make that change here. And I can even keep it in both if I would like, but I'm just going to switch it to Excel. And here you can see is our delivery method, which we have send report by email. You can click on this edit details and you can see that it's going to attach the report output, and you'll see your name here. Don't add any people up here. It won't allow you to. So you really want to just leave this section alone, but I just wanted to show it to you for completeness. And then we have the prompts. And this looks pretty familiar to what we saw on the right sidebar when we were creating the subscription. And you'll see you can't edit any of these. So that's not very helpful. But if you go up here, there's a very small icon called Edit Prompts. If you click on that pencil, it will show you the prompt pages that you're used to seeing when you run the report. So let's just say, for example, we're looking to run it for fall of 2023. I can go and change that. I want to still leave it on plan. And let's say I even want to leave it on the same plan here. Then I just click Finish. And you can see it changed my prompt from spring semester 2024 to fall semester 2023. And then I can press the Save button. And when I'm done, and I still have this showing in the right sidebar, I just click away from it, and it will close that sidebar. So note we just edited this subscription. Request help for Cognos. When you need assistance with Cognos, you can email the EDA team at eda@ilstu.edu, or you can contact the Technology Support Center by phone, email, or using the URL. Thank you very much for attending Cognos Beginner Training.